Okay, the following is a video over 1.5 notes, which is angle relationships. And we've got a couple different types of relationships with angles, so let's get started here. The first one I want to talk about is adjacent angles. And if I'm going to use this symbol right here is angles, so instead of writing out the word every time, I'm going to kind of use shorthand here. And adjacent angles are angles that share a common side. Okay, share a common side and vertex. Okay, and we have learned previously that what we can do with angles that are adjacent to each other. Okay, so I'm just going to make an arbitrary angle here, and then I'm going to have one that's inside of it. Okay. So here's what I know. Okay, I'm going to call this angle 1 right here, call this angle 2, and the whole angle here I'm going to call angle 3. Okay, now the thing is they share a common vertex and they share a common side. Okay, so if they share a vertex and a side, then they are adjacent, and adjacent means next to. Okay, so these two angles are next to each other. And what we know about these angles is that if I take angle 1 and add it to angle 2, then that gives us angle 3. Okay, so if I take the two smaller angles and add them together, it gives us the big one. And we learned this as part of the segment or the angle addition postulate. Okay, the next one that we've got, the next angle relationship that we've got is a linear pair. So a linear pair. Okay, and these are angles. And I shouldn't just say angles, linear pair. These are adjacent angles whose non-adjacent side forms a straight line. Okay, forms a straight line. Okay, another way to think about this is the word supplementary. So supplementary. Okay, and supplementary means that they add up to 180 degrees. Okay, we're going to talk about this a lot. So let me give you an example of a linear pair here. Okay, so let's just say that we've got this. I'm going to call this angle 4 and angle 5. And what we have here is that we have adjacent angles. Okay, they share a vertex. They have a common side here, but then their non-common sides form a straight line. Okay, and when we have a straight line, the angle measure on that is 180 degrees. So I can say that angle 4 plus angle 5 is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, so that's adjacent angles, linear pair. Okay, the next one that we have is what we call vertical angles, and again we're going to see this all the time. So these are vertical angles. Okay, and vertical angles are congruent. And when we have vertical angles, the adjacent angles are supplementary. Okay, so adjacent angles are supplementary. Supplementary. Sorry, that looks terrible, but you get the idea. All right, and so what I have here is if I wanted to show vertical angles, I would show two lines that intersect. Okay, and so what I can end up doing is this. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to call this angle 6, angle 7, angle 8, and angle 9. Okay. So what I know about vertical angles is that my opposite angles, these two angles, so angle 6 is congruent to angle 8. Okay, and also I could say that angle 7 is congruent to angle 9. This is really powerful. Okay, we'll do an activity in class on how this all works. But then I can also say that angle 9 plus angle 6 is equal to 180 because they form a linear pair. They're supplementary, okay? You can say that about 9 and 8, so angle 9 plus angle 8 is equal to 180. We can say that angle 6 and angle 7, angle 6 plus angle 7 add up to 180, okay? And then I also know that angles 8 and 7 also add up to 180. Okay, so if I have vertical angles, there's a lot of stuff we can say about that. Okay, let's move on. The last one that we've got is complementary. Okay, so complementary. And hey, you know, you guys are doing a great job. Just thought I'd let you know that. You guys are doing a wonderful job with this. So this is complementary. Okay, and these are angles that add up to 180 or add up to 90 degrees. Okay, so if I were to have, you know, an angle like this, and I know that we've got this little symbol here, and if I've got another angle, let me draw an actual line. And if I have another angle inside of this right angle, if I have a right angle, and I'm going to call this angle 10 and angle 11, if I know that they're complementary, okay, I know that angle 10 plus angle 11 add up to 90 degrees, okay? Now we also have this. Let's say we have a horizontal line and a vertical line that intersect. And if I have a right angle here, okay, and I want you guys to make sure you draw this picture because these are perpendicular lines, perpendicular. Okay, that also means that they form right angles. So form right angles. Okay, so if I know that these two lines are perpendicular, I know I have a right angle here. And because these are vertical angles, I know that this is also a right angle here. Okay, and if this is a linear pair, if this is 90 degrees, then these add up to 180. Well, this would also have to be 90 degrees, and then another vertical angle here, and this would be 90 degrees. Okay, so when you have perpendicular lines, all these angles around here are all 90 degrees. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's take a look at some of these problems from the notes real quick. And I just want to use this figure at the right to name an angle or a pair of angle that satisfies each condition. Sometimes there's more than one right answer for this, but I wanted to make sure that we were able to talk about it. So what I want to do is I want to name two acute vertical angles, okay? So I see I have an acute angle here. An acute angle is less than 90 degrees, but I don't have another line coming out here. Okay, I do see that these two lines are the only lines that intersect. So I have this vertical angle with this angle here, okay? And because those are vertical, I know that they're congruent, okay? And what I notice here is that this whole angle here is 90 degrees. And so then this angle has to be less than 90 degrees. So here are my two angles. I've got angle EKH, okay, and angle FKG, okay, FKG. Okay, both of those angles are acute and they're vertical. Okay, so then it wants to know name two obtuse vertical angles. So if I come and look at this, I go, okay, well, the only other vertical angles that I have are these two angles here. They're vertical, and they're larger than 90 degrees, okay? I know that this angle right here, because this is 90 degrees, I know that this one's also 90 degrees, so I'm going to say angle HKG, so angle HKG, and angle EKF, angle EKF. These are also vertical angles, and they are obtuse, okay? The next one says, name a linear pair. And guys, we've got a bunch of options here. I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna pick one. I'm just gonna pick this one, use this line. So FKH, I'm gonna say that HKE, so angle HKE and EKF, okay, and angle EKF. Okay, I've got a number of options here. This isn't the only answer for this one. Okay, then it says name two acute adjacent angles. So if I want adjacent angles, I want angles that are next to each other, and I want ones that are acute. The first thing that comes to mind is this one right here, this angle right here, JKG. So angle JKG. And then it is adjacent to this other one, which I know is less than 90 degrees. So I'm going to call this angle GKF. So, and angle GKF. All right. Number 5 says name an angle complementary to EKH. Okay, so this is where it gets weird. Okay, EKH is the same measure as FKG. And I know that these two angles add up to 90 degrees because they form a 90-degree angle here. This angle is less than 90 degrees, but it is congruent to FKG. So the angle that is complementary, and that's a good-looking angle, okay, is going to be angle JKG, all right? All right, now it wants to know name an angle that is supplementary to FKG. So FKG, supplementary to that. We've got a number of options here. So FKG, I'm just going to go ahead and say FKE, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and say angle FKE is supplementary, and that forms a linear pair, okay? So again, guys, you need to be able to look at a figure and be able to draw some conclusions about what kinds of angles are congruent, which ones add up to 180, which ones add up to 90, okay? Okay, right here, number 10. So we're going to use some algebra here. It says if I have the measure of angle PTQ, so PTQ is right here. This is 3y minus 10. And the measure of QTR is y. And it says find the value of y so that PTR is a right angle. So if it's a right angle, then I know that it's 90 degrees, okay? So if I were to take these two angles, if I took angle PTQ and added it to QTR, angle QTR, then I would get the whole thing, which is angle PTR. Okay, now PTQ, guys, that's 3y minus 10. I'm going to write that in there. That's 3y minus 10. QTR is just y, so plus y. And that's equal to the whole thing, which we know is 90. Okay, so if it is a right angle, then this angle is 90 degrees. So let's solve this for y. So I'm going to combine my like terms. I get 4y minus 10 is equal to 90. I'm going to go ahead and add 10 to both sides. All right, so I get 4y is equal to 100. If I divide everything by 4, I end up getting that y is equal to 25. So if y is 25, then that is the value for y that will make this PTR a right angle. Okay, so let's take a look over here. We want to determine whether each statement can be assumed from the figure, if not explain, and explain it why it can be. So it says WZU is a right angle. So WZU is a right angle. This is true, okay? So determine whether I can make this statement. Yes, I can make this statement. And the reason I can make this statement is because of the symbol, okay? Because of the symbol where it tells me that it's a right angle, okay? All right, let's take a look at 12. It says YZU and UZV are supplementary. So this angle and this angle, are they supplementary? The answer is yes, because they form a linear pair. Okay, they form a linear pair. Okay, and then on 13 it says VZU and Y. What do we got? YZX is adjacent, okay? And are these angles adjacent? Okay, is this angle adjacent to this one? And no, it is not. The reason is because they are vertical angles. And vertical angles are not next to each other. They are vertical. Okay. I hope, guys, that this helps. I would probably rewatch how I'm answering some of these questions. A lot of it's just knowing the vocab and being able to apply it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you later.